Back to Celebrity Radio, it's Alex Lowe talking to some of the country's biggest stars and some of my favourite people, and we've got one for you today. Alex Lowe is one of the most brilliant English actors and comedians, and of course he's the face behind Barry From Watford, which is saying something. I'm delighted to say he joins us on the phone now. How are you?
Yeah, fine, thank you. Great to speak to you.
You know, what's really interesting about you become in this business defined by certain things like Barry From Watford, which is huge. But, I mean, you've been at this for years and years and years, almost 40 years at the top of your game, haven't you?
Yes. Yeah, I was a child actor. I was in the West End with a play called Another Country, which, of course, became a film with Kenneth Branagh and Rupert Everett. Actually, I don't think Kenneth Branagh was in the film. When I was 14, and then I did all sorts of things. Adrian Mole cassettes when they first came out, and then I did my degree in drama and joined Kenneth Branagh's company, and I was his stand-in for a while because I'm sort of very similar build and colouring and shape. So yeah, I did it as a child, and lucky enough to do it as an adult.
There aren't many people in the business who have TV, radio and stage, and you seem to have done that. It's an extraordinary mix sort of a third of each, a remarkable success.
Well, you know what, I was brought up with such a sort of Protestant work ethic. With my parents went to work 9 to 5, and doing any of this kind of ludicrous theatrical la-di-da nonsense was seen as so ridiculous that I've never really known it any other way. And, when you have a wife and kids, you've got to put some food on the table. So I've actually got, I've split my time into quarters, actually. I've got various card ranges in the shops. I've got sort of comedy cards in the shops. So I do that as well, which keeps the wolf from the door. But it is lovely to be able to do stuff that's creative for a living. But the downside is my constant navel gazing and anxiety and existential crisis is a real pain for my wife who gets to listen to it.
Yeah, it's tough, isn't it? I think the thing about this business is once you've done the biggest show of your career, tomorrow you're nothing again, and that can play with your whole psychology, can't it?
Yes, I've had so many times where there's been something just around the corner that's going to be the biggest thing. And, I've done HBO pilots and films that have come and gone, and TV series that are going to run. And it's really tough. I mean, it's that old thing. If you were selling leather jackets in a market, you wouldn't take it personally because someone doesn't like the leather jacket. That's fine. It's just a leather jacket. It's an article. But when it's you yourself that you're flogging, that's can be quite difficult. It's not a career I'd recommend for anyone.
We spoke about at the beginning. Let's go to the present, which is this new Channel 4 quiz show you've got with Noel Edmonds. I mean, this, I suppose, other than Steve Wright, which I'll talk about in a bit, is the biggest TV thing you've done of late. And, of course, it's the first thing you've done, I think, that's probably given you the most press and Twitter reaction, good and bad. Is it good to know what people think of your every word and your every move? It seems to me, ironically, you've come out of that show better than anyone.
Well, it's funny you should catch me today because, yes, occasionally I do see stuff on Twitter which is pretty awful, and it's not a thing you want to see very often. But the vast majority of them are very nice. People always, honestly, really, I'd say 95% of the stuff I read is quite nice about me, and people are very friendly towards me. And I think that particularly the Barry character reminds people of their old granddad. Yeah. So they have a sort of affection and a nostalgia for that sort of character, as I do, because that Barry is based on all my Cockney forebears who were living in southeast London and had to move out to the suburbs during the war because they were right next to an armament factory, particularly the case of the Lowe family. And so, I have an affection for that character, and other people seem to as well. So, luckily, I don't receive too much bad publicity from people.
It's incredible how Barry took off. Let's go back, though, to some of your hits in the past. I mean, I look at some of the names you've worked with. I mean, even Bremer, Bird and Fortune. Jesus, 3 comedy icons. Simon Day, Peter Kay. I mean, you've really been lucky to work with some of the greatest comic minds in history.
Yeah, oh God, I mean, I've been very lucky. And, before that I was with Kenneth Branagh, and I did sort of Much Ado About Nothing, where I had a small part in that, and I was his stand-in, and we were out in Italy, and I'd be out to dinner with Keanu Reeves and Denzel Washington. And then in the comedy, I mean, it is amazing to work with your heroes, and the vast majority of the time they've never disappointed me. So I mean, those are really two sides of my career: the comedy and the straight drama. Peter has always been very, very good to me, and we did Pheonix Nights live recently, a couple of winters ago at Manchester Arena, and as a result of that, he said that he's happy for me to go and do Clinton Baptiste, which is this psychic character I played in Pheonix Nights, which I occasionally go and do as a stand-up thing. So, yeah, I mean, all those people have been pretty decent to me.
Isn't it a small world as well? I mean, you'll know my mate Toby Foster, who I work with at Radio Sheffield, and it seems to me this business is incredibly small. And we look at what Peter did. I mean, he was one of my first guests ever when I started 20 years ago. He was doing tiny pubs in Nottingham, and then the next minute he's selling out arenas. But what he seemed to have was this loyalty to people he loved around him. And you were part of that. Such a niche group, a tiny group actually, of a few guys and women that he just adored, that he kept using again and again and again.
Yeah, and let's hope he carries on doing that. Yes, can I just say, Alex, you're very good, aren't you? All this research you've done is brilliant.
It's my job.
Yeah, very good. No, the thing is, that was the lovely thing. I went and did Edinburgh in 1998, and I was doing a show about wrestling, British wrestling, and Peter turned up with bomber Pat Roach from Auf Wiedersehen Pet to review it for Edinburgh Night for BBC Two, and I was playing a variety of Adrian Street, Big Daddy, Mick McManus, all these sort of wrestling greats from World of Sports in the 70s, and as you can imagine, that's right up Peter's street, that sort of tacky entertainment style, end of the pier British culture. And Peter, I mean, he's written about this in his book, actually, I'm happy to say, but Bomber Pat Roach said to me, I haven't seen you on the circuit at all, on the wrestling circuit. And I thought, well, it's obviously a show I'm doing when I'm an actor. And I said, well, no, I'm not really a wrestler. I'm an actor. He went, right. I didn't see at Tiger Ryan's funeral the other day. And I looked at Peter and I thought, I can't keep saying I'm an actor. And so whenever I see Peter nowadays, he says to me, I didn't see you at Tiger Ryan's funeral. But luckily, at that time, it was amazing, actually. I mean, I'd knock around with Peter at Edinburgh, in 1998. And although he had a sort of growing reputation, he wasn't the mega star that he is now. So, he's always been very good, very loyal to me.
Have you learned in the business that if you're good, you'll succeed and the brilliant will rise to the top, which they always say, don't they? If you work hard and you're brilliant, you'll always succeed. Is that true in comedy, or is there a lot of luck?
God, I don't know. I mean, I try and try and try. No one ever gives me a huge leap forward. I mean, I don't know. There's an awful lot of luck. I think sometimes, I spread myself quite thin between writing and straight acting and, bits I do on radio and comedy and stand-up. And I sometimes think if I really focused on one thing, hard work might get me into a decent position. But by the same token, it's really great to do all sorts of things. I mean, I'm in a play in the Trafalgar Studios in the West End at the moment, which is a very, very serious play about suicide, which has had these fantastic reviews. And, then I think, well, if this gets too miserable, there's always some comedy gig round the corner. So I think, if I focused on one thing in particular, then the hard work might result in some huge leap forward. But I think in general, I can honestly say it's a lot of luck.
Yeah. But isn't it brilliant? You've got that diversity. 1 minute you can be on Cheap, and the next minute talking about suicide in the West End. That's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it sort of is. Yeah. I mean, it always means that if something isn't going that well, or you get rejected for one thing, you feel, oh well, I've got these other areas I can concentrate on. So that's a really nice thing, and it also means that I don't have to go, and no disrespect to anyone who does this, but go and work in a call centre when I'm not doing.
And many do. We should remember that. It's a tough business to survive and make a living. Was it fun working with Noel? I suppose when the phone goes and they say you're going to be on Channel 4 with a legend like Noel, that's got to be thrilling because, I mean, he's Noel Edmonds.
Yeah, it really was. It was fantastic working with Noel, and we did lots of workshops and tried out the format of the show with Patrick. And then, I mean, it's always that thing, Noel Edmonds walks in, my God. Yeah. And I feel the same about Steve Wright. I don't know, some of your younger listeners might not remember these people, but they were and are in certain households household names.
Well, it's funny you make the analogy. I think Steve Wright's probably the greatest live broadcaster on radio in history, and I think Noel's probably the greatest live TV presenter. I mean, they are faultless, and that consistency they have to turn up every day and make it look like they want to be there is just beautiful, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm always, occasionally I get an email from Noel, and I'm completely thrilled. My 12-year-old self remembers him on Swap Shop or whatever it was, and the same with Steve Wright. I'm absolutely, when I turn up to do Barry on Radio 2, I go up to that studio, and it's such a buzz to go and be working with Steve Wright.
Doesn't get any bigger than that. Let's talk about Barry from Watford then. Probably your most famous creation that people just love. And I think you're right. It's that sort of Dame Edna effect. You can get away with anything because we like you. And that warmth is such a beautiful skill that you've crafted. Did you know when you did Barry originally that it could end up being such a mega hit on TV and radio?
Well, I always wanted, the real truth is I wanted to create a character. And I had this voice in my head, which, as I say, is based on all my Cockney lot, and it's a very old fashioned style of Cockney that you don't get so much now, you see. And, so it's based on my granddad and his sister. And it's just, I don't know, it's fading. I think dialects, ever changing.
Yeah.
So I thought that I had this character somewhere, and I phoned Ian Lee. I used to do a show on XFM many years ago, and Ian Lee, the presenter, and used to phone up with his one voice, which was Mike from Camden. And Mike didn't sound too dissimilar to Ian Lee, I have to say. And so when Ian started his show on LBC, I thought, I've got this character up my sleeve. I'm just going to give it a go. And I phoned in and said, Ian, you're asking the question, how do you get rid of slugs in your back garden? Well, my wife's perfume doesn't, what I do, one whiff of my wife's Charlie and those slugs are curling up and dying. And so then I just kept phoning and really just for a laugh. And the people started to believe it was a real guy, and then Ian and I had a little meeting where we thought, what should we do? And I wanted to do an Edinburgh show. So I said, what I need to do is have some controversy on your show that I can base my Edinburgh show around. And Ian kindly let me do that. So Barry swore very, very gently. I think he said wee or poo or something. And Ian said, you are barred from the show. And the fallout, honestly, it went into the next show. Clive Ball did a show, and it went into his show with people phoning up saying, he's out of order, what you've done to that old man. That old man, he phones up your show, you are bang out of order. So I based a show on that. And then Fenella Fudge, who was, then I started doing it on Virgin, on Ian's show. Fenella Fudge was a newsreader at Radio 2. put me in touch with Steve Wright, and I went in to just do a one-off thing, and he's had me back quite a lot since. So
yeah, I love it. I can't wait when he says, coming up next, Barry from Watford. It's one of those moments. But do you know why I think it works on radio too? It's very similar to what Wogan did with Janet and John. It's the same sort of setup. We know what's coming, we feel it, and we're on the sort of train with you. We can see it coming towards us. We know what the gag's going to be, but we love it. Again, it's that warmth you can't buy. Congratulations on that. It's a beautiful character.
That's really great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Listen, great talking to you. I'm going to see you on tour because, I mean, one of the great things you do, as well as everything else we've talked about, you go on the road and sort of bring Barry to the people with the bingo show in London. And, I mean, it is just camp old nonsense. But, again, if you can't have a 45 minutes of camp old nonsense every now and again, I suppose there's something wrong with us.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's nothing wrong with some good old-fashioned jokes. You know, that I'm not reinventing the wheel. Some quite puerile double entendres, but that's what makes me laugh. There's a rich tradition of that in Britain.
Yep.
But on the road, I'm on the road, of course, with Dan Skinner as Angelos Epithemiou. Live Nation taking us on tour around the country. It's the second autumn we've done it, and it's a really funny, mad show. Just, you know, tons and tons of laughs in it. So hopefully people will come along.
Congratulations on everything. See Barry and Angelos on tour across the UK this autumn, and Alex Lowe, of course, in the West End. And thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And I'll come and see you soon.
Brilliant. Thank you.